What's up, everybody? Andy Hayes here. I just hit the record button. School is in session, which means it's time for Teach Me Something New. Teach Me Something New with Andy. All right, this episode I wanted to talk about a topic that I've been talking with multiple clients and other fitness enthusiasts for years, and that is, what should I be doing? Some of the low intensity exercises for cardio, or should I be doing high intensity exercises for cardio? So we're going to weigh the pros and cons of each and talking about high intensity interval training, otherwise known as HIIT, versus low intensity steady state exercise, also known as Liss. All right, so let's get started. All right, so first let me talk a little bit about what I generally think is better for beginners, at least for a little bit, and that is the low intensity steady state exercise. So that is where you're not going at a super high level of intensity. You're going to stay at a lower intensity. Why I believe this is probably a little better for beginners is the fact that it's a little less intimidating to start with, and also it is in a lower intensity state, so therefore you're less likely to have this crazy amount of muscular soreness at the beginning of your workout routine, which is going to be more likely for you to be able to do consistent exercise more frequently. Because as you may have seen at some point in your life, when you get incredibly sore from a workout, you're gonna be less likely to work out for several days because you just find it to be a little too painful and you're in too high of discomfort. And it's a little discouraging to be like, oh, I just started exercising and now I can't move. It's inhibiting my daily life. And I don't know if I can continue this. And before you've barely even got started, you're already done with your program. So the lower intensity steady state exercise is going to be lower impact on your joints. It's going to be less soreness, and you're going to be able to recover from it very easily. In terms of your health, it's going to be great for strengthening your heart to the point where you can take on greater intensities maybe a little bit later, and also so you can survive higher amounts of stress in your life, because as you know, stress can start to cause different things in our body that is not necessarily too good. Now, in terms of insulin sensitivity, over time you can see an increase in how sensitive you are to insulin, which is going to bring blood sugar levels down, which is great news for anybody that has those concerns, including diabetics. Probably one of the downfalls of low intensity steady state exercise for a lot of you is that it does take a good amount of time out of your day, because to get the benefits of low intensity steady state in terms of caloric expenditure, or how much energy you are burning off, therefore calories, it's going to take a little bit longer. But that doesn't mean beginners should start off by trying to walk for an hour and a half. Absolutely not. I do believe that you can get a lot out of a simple 20-minute walk, but over time you want to increase that duration to see those caloric burn benefits. So what types of exercises can you do with low intensity steady states? You could absolutely walk. Some people jog at a low intensity for longer durations. So anybody that's maybe getting ready for a race like a 5K or even greater, that's not considered high intensity when you're doing things like half marathons, because you're at a low intensity but for a longer duration. Things like bikes, whether they're stationary or outdoors, can be done low intensity steady state. Ellipticals, swimming, hiking, or even an indoor rower, all these things are great options for low intensity steady state. All right, so let's talk about now the high intensity interval training, also known as HIIT training. This is the type of training that you might see in a lot of Group X classes, and this is more appealing to a lot of people because they feel like it's a better workout, which better is a term that doesn't really make sense in this type of situation, because what's better for somebody is not better for the other. But in terms of like, do you feel like you're getting a better workout at the time? maybe because your heart rate is increasing, but this is something, like I said, that will create a higher amount of impact on your body and a higher amount of soreness. So I definitely recommend high intensity interval training for somebody that has more of a fitness foundation. But the benefits is that you don't need as longer duration to get the benefits. You can basically, you're taking the duration down but increasing the intensity. So you are getting the same amount of calories burned in a less amount of time. You can see it as a benefit, the fact that high intensity interval training is going to use a greater amount of muscles because there is a higher effort per minute. So you're going to be recruiting more muscle fibers, which can create muscular development. So for you guys out there, you're going to think about that as muscular growth. You're going to be like, yeah, bigger muscles. For females, I'm going to equate that to muscular toning. These are the exact same things. Men and women just respond differently to higher amounts of muscular force output, which is happening during high intensity interval training. Whereas with the low intensity steady state, you can do that regularly throughout the week and not need as much recovery because there is a lower amount of central nervous system fatigue. With high intensity interval training, you're going to need probably a little bit more rest in between those workouts because you are going to experience a little bit more fatigue, not only in your muscles and your joints, but also in your nervous system. So yes, high intensity interval training is also very good. It is great for strengthening your heart. You can actually strengthen your heart probably a little faster than you could with low intensity steady state if your body is ready for that amount of intensity. And also in terms of insulin sensitivity, you can increase your sensitivity a little faster. And so you can see those improved blood glucose levels a little bit quicker within a workout program. So what type of exercises can be used with high intensity interval training? Same as you did before with the low intensity steady state. You can do any type of sprinting, which could be, jogging / running, ellipticals, rowers, bikes, swimming, and even walking can be done at a higher intensity if you just increase the level at which you're walking in terms of outside. If you did more hilly course, or if you're inside on a treadmill, you just increase that gradient. Some of the treadmills at the J, once we get back, go up to 30% gradient. So if you're telling me that walking is not intense for you because you're so fit, try the incline trainers without holding on and go up to 30 degrees. I guarantee you your heart rate will get jacked up way high. So those intervals are not only done through sprinting, like I just said, but they can also be done through jumping variations, throwing variations, or any type of weightlifting. So throwing variations could be done with like med balls. I would put battle ropes into that category. But in terms of jumping, plyometrics, jumping on boxes up and down, or doing broad jumps, jumping jacks, mountain climbers are kind of jumpy. In terms of weightlifting, pretty much anything can be done, particularly leg exercises, to get that high intensity interval training benefit. So how do you apply this information? So for beginners, if you've already been doing some steady state, low intensity, steady state exercise, go from that 20-minute start and then ramp up that steady state for longer and longer durations. Now, if you wanted to start dabbling into the high intensity exercises, what I would do at the end of a workout is just do a little 5-minute segment. So at the end of each minute, do a 20-second higher intensity version of that exercise that you're doing. So on an elliptical, you would just maybe increase the resistance and increase your speed for the last 20 seconds, and then do the low intensity for 40 seconds, and then repeat that for the last 5 minutes. You could do this on several different types of machines or modalities. Now, in terms of somebody that is doing both, because the point of this video is that I do recommend both. I think they both have great benefits. I would recommend doing high intensity interval training 3 days a week, and then the low intensity steady state the other 4 days in the week if you are exercising every day. So what that would look like is say Sunday, you're going to do some low intensity, Monday, high intensity, Tuesday, low intensity, Wednesday, high intensity, Thursday, low intensity, Friday, high intensity, and Saturday, low intensity. So you have 4 low intensity days, 3 high intensity days. All right, I hope you learned something, and get at it. They're both great exercise intensities, and they both have their benefits. See ya.